Good evening and welcome to Crossroads, and we're live. Now, you might have seen the headlines over the weekend. There's a new scandal in Washington. Representative Lauren Boebert was filmed by a night vision camera in a theater, and she was groped by a man she was with, apparently on a date. She was kicked out allegedly for vaping during the performance. Now, this isn't criminal by any means, but the media establishment is pushing this like it's one of the biggest stories in the country. Here's MSNBC on it.
Republican Congresswoman Lauren Boebert of Colorado has long railed on the House floor that the left is grooming children by exposing them to what she calls obscene content, in reference to things like drag performances for children and the use of LGBTQ inclusive flashcards to teach colors to students. Well, on Friday, Boebert apologized for her own behavior, coming at a recent performance of the family-friendly musical Beetlejuice, showing in Denver.
Now, I wouldn't say that's equivalent to grooming children, but that's just me. And look, of course, you could argue it shows a lack of decorum. It's not polite behavior. And you could also say it's, there's some hypocrisy involved coming from a strong advocate of conservative values. In my personal opinion, though, this is just another case of fake moral outcry being done for political reasons and distracting the nation from the things that actually do matter, like runaway government spending, crime waves, the border invasion, or, the Biden impeachment investigations, the ones looking into whether our elected leaders have been selling off policy to U.S. adversaries. Where's the outrage about that? Now, a general reading of reactions online suggests that this is actually the broader sentiment. Sometimes the comment sections and reactions to news pieces actually give a clearer reading of what actually people care about than the news pieces themselves. And if you go on Twitter, for example, and see what people are writing about, it seems like they don't care either. At least most, other than establishment news outlets and commentators, who don't like her anyway, basically. Many people question why we can get night vision video footage of a representative having a touchy date in a theater, but we can't get security footage of, elite child trafficker Jeffrey Epstein's death in a prison cell while he was under protective custody. People want to know why the Beetlejuice performance she was attending seems to have better quality surveillance than the U.S. Capitol building with the still mysterious pipe bomb incident on January 6th we've heard so much about and seen so little on. How do we know who touched Representative Boebert's chest during a date, but we do not know who left the cocaine in the White House? Now, many who made accusations about Representative Boebert having a double standard are themselves being called out for double standards. People, for example, dug out older tweets of critics defending similar incidents, oftentimes much worse, on their side of the political aisle. Others pointed to photos of gay pride parades where men, grown men walk nude and give explicit performances in front of children. There were the burlesque shows for kids. Others pointed to the allegations of Barack Obama smoking crack and being a homosexual. Discussions switched to the grooming and the castration of children through the school system. In other words, people have been desensitized to the conventional scandal. Massive scandals are getting swept under the rug by the media establishment, and when they try to drag out something that might have been a big deal back in the 1950s, it just doesn't carry the same weight. People are starting to care a lot less about the usual moral outrage, and they're a whole lot more concerned about things like, the destruction of the nation, the turning of races against each other, the waves of violence and theft, the destruction of the basic livelihoods of Americans. And then there's the Me Too Brigade, the scandals of men accused of rape or indecency, often with cases over a decade or several decades old, with no evidence oftentimes. Now, of course, rape is terrible, but the concern is that it's become just another political tool, ironically undermining the real cases, and just another way for political actors to destroy the people they do not like. Now, this came to the surface recently with actor and online news host Russell Brand. He's being accused of rape and sexual assault. Now, he refutes the claims, and of course, we'll see what comes out from this. We don't know yet if he's innocent or guilty, but people are noting the political trend this appears to follow. Online news host Viva Frey posted a list of famous people who have faced accusations like this and suggested it's being done against people seemingly who just oppose the establishment or challenge the prevailing narratives. Some point to others who've been targeted by the outrage mob. Julian Assange at WikiLeaks, whistleblower Edward Snowden, Joe Rogan, Tucker Carlson, James O'Keefe, Gina Carano. The very long list goes on. And it seems like it's all the people who challenge the establishment. We've seen how many of these cases turn out. Many allegations prove to be fake. Others have glaring political bias, and on the other side of politics, well, it seems like people get away with just about anything. Whatever happened to the 3 women accusing Bill Clinton of sexual misconduct? How about the sexual harassment fund for Congress, where it was found that American tax dollars were being used to pay off people in settlements? You might remember Politico defended it in 2017, stating that the sexual harassment slush fund isn't just about sexual harassment cases. It said the money covers all sorts of settlements, not just for sexual harassment. And some lawmakers cut their own side deals with the accusers. I don't think that makes it okay, but that's just me. Now, notably, Congress changed those rules in 2018 so that lawmakers now have to pay settlements out of their own pockets. Generally, though, the issue has become more about politics and a whole lot less about actual abuse. Fake allegations of rape, harassment, and racism, it's all starting to fall on deaf ears because the issues seem like they don't actually matter anymore. But instead, because many people are abusing the system, it has turned into lynch mob politics. The accused are guilty until proven innocent. And sometimes it's even worse. Sometimes they're stained by the accusations for life, even if they are found innocent. And the media tends to ensure that happens. It's the new Inquisition, guilty by accusation. Now, people have also had other things to care about. We can focus on someone calling another person a mean name, for example, while acts of serious violence are being swept under the rug, with suspicion that the stories just don't fit the political narrative sometimes. For example, a video went viral recently, filmed by 2 teenagers. They filmed themselves on a joyride in Las Vegas. They laugh and they joke about running a man over who's seen riding a bike, and they crash into him. His body smashes into the windshield. One of the kids turns the camera to show the man lying motionless on the street. Now, the man who was a retired police chief, he was killed. People online were quick to note that if the races had been reversed, we would never hear the end of it. It was taken as another case of a story getting swept aside, seemingly, because it does not align with the agendas of the political outrage machine. And remember, there's also a push to censor X, formerly known as Twitter, because racism is supposedly on the rise, but for some reason, we're also told that some racism should just be ignored. Again, the suspicion is that it's only racist if it is deemed politically useful by the people pushing the narratives, and if it's not useful, they hide it. And while we're told to focus on mean words, well, the race narratives have been used to defund the police. The men and women tasked with guarding us against crime have had their hands tied behind their backs. And what's the effect? Crime is rampant. People are dying unnecessarily. Criminals are being given a green light. Even the NAACP is blaming the defund the police movement for allowing criminals to abuse innocent people. In July, for example, in Oakland, it called for a state of emergency on crime, and it stated, failed leadership, including the movement to defund the police, our district attorney's unwillingness to charge and prosecute people who murder and commit life-threatening serious crimes, and the proliferation of anti-police rhetoric have created a heyday for Oakland criminals. If there are no consequences of committing a crime in Oakland, crime will continue to soar. And they're arguing that Black Americans are some of the biggest victims of that, by the way. Well, folks, that's it for YouTube. For the rest of the episode, come join us on Epoch TV. The show's live now, 7 p.m. Come join us. course, we only air part of it here. Watch the full episode. We have some great interviews coming up. We'll be talking about the missing F-35 fighter jet, why it took them so long to find it, why did the military ask the public to help them find their $80 million stealth jet, some weird stuff going on. Also be talking about the budget. Of course, we've been hearing a lot about what might happen with it. Will they defund the budget for Ukraine? Will they defund the, Georgia and New York for looking into Trump, trying to investigate him? It doesn't look like we have any idea yet where things are happening, but there is some pretty big movement happening right now, and we'll be talking about that as well. Also, we have documentaries, special features, including my special feature with the unreleased January 6th footage, all on EpochTV. So come join us, 25 cents a week, and I'll see you there.
People from 160 countries illegally cross the U.S.-Mexico border and give themselves up to Border Patrol. But what about the ones who evade Border Patrol? These are known as the gotaways.
You can safely assume that anybody that went through the extra effort to avoid U.S. Border Patrol was not an asylum seeker by default.
It may not be today, it may not be tomorrow, but somewhere down the road, if somebody rapes and kills somebody, and we find out that they came through here on my watch, that's unacceptable.
These men had surrounded my house. They were banging on my back door. They were banging on my front door.
You can't understand it unless you're out here seeing it every day. 21 dead bodies on the property.
Code 3 response.
Is it wrong to ask people to come to your front door of your home? Then why would it be wrong to ask people to come to the front door of our nation?
Their primary goal is to circumvent the checkpoints, go undetected.
People that do not want to surrender, those are going to be the potential terrorists, the criminals, the real threat to the U.S.
We were hoping the federal government would step in and do something, but they didn't.
We have no clue who they are or where they're going. That's the scary part.